I allegedly cheated on my boyfriend by assuming the relationship was over. Can I fix this? So basically it's as it says in the title. I was together with Derek for a year. We always went out to parties, clubs, drinking, and all those things. At some point, I don't know, I just grew tired of the whole party scene and other stuff all the time. I will admit it was partially due to my father constantly in my ear about me starting to take life seriously, etc. So yeah, I quit that lifestyle, and went to college on my parents' dime. Derek did not like that. Suddenly you're not the same person, you think you're better than us, come on babe, screw that, let's go out, constantly. Soon enough we no longer went on dates, and he no longer invited me anywhere because I had a morality stick up my butt that's constantly judging them. He was constantly discouraging me and just dragging me down. I should have broken up with him, but I thought I was in love and kept trying to make it work. Anyway, he started getting short with me through texts. Stopped visiting. Stopped calling. Ignoring me. Until it was 3 months since I even saw him, or we had any kind of interaction. I just assumed that meant we were over. So yeah, I met a cute guy a few weeks later that asked me out and I said yes. We're together for 2 months now. So a few days ago, Derek shows up at my apartment out of nowhere and starts berating and insulting me. Saying a friend saw me with another guy and showing me pics of us kissing. It was a nasty argument before he left. Then he left and blasted me on Facebook and Insta for being a cheating bitch and more. I felt I didn't do anything wrong, until a friend of mine pointed out it was my own fault for assuming things. Gave me the whole S plus you plus and plus me speech about assuming things. Keep in mind that Derek and I haven't even spoken in over 5 months at this point. Some friends and others have started looking at me differently. I've never considered myself a cheater, but I guess I am. Current BF still hasn't ran off but we still have to talk. How can I fix this? Comment. Nah man, if someone doesn't talk to you or see you for 3 months they've abandoned the relationship. You could have cut the cord officially, but what would that have even done? Just given him another opportunity to berate you. Not worth it? It doesn't matter what he thinks or what his friends think. I guess it matters what your friends think, but if they're on his side when it's clear he essentially broke up with you months ago, then they aren't really your friends. You tell them he cut you off and for 3 months you heard nothing. Your last interactions were him telling you off for not going out and partying. The relationship was over and you moved on. Now suddenly, because he found out, you were seeing someone, he shows up. 5 months after your last interaction. The guy is a moron for thinking you were still together without any communication. He ghosted you for months, he didn't deserve the dignity of a formal breakup. Note that your apparently pretty shitty friends are happy to ignore that part of it. After all, your ex was also playing the S plus you plus and plus me game that he could ignore you for months and you wouldn't move on. You've changed your life. You no longer wanted to be like your ex. So maybe with that it means cutting off a lot of your mutuals who seem pretty happy to take a swing at you even though you were also screwed over. Just be real with your BF. My ex ghosted me for months. We didn't formally break up, but when you asked me out, in my mind it wasn't even a question to say yes. My ex is framing himself as the victim now. I'm laying this out to you because I want to be upfront and discuss it. If you had no contact for 3 months and he ghosted you, were done. I don't have social media, but post that he ghosted you for 3 months, wouldn't return calls or texts, he broke up with me and didn't have the balls to tells me. Dude sounds like a massive loser. He ghosted you for 5 months and then gets mad that you moved on? Your friend who said it was your fault sounds like an idiot. You could call him on his idiocy on social media yourself. One way might be by seeing who liked/commented on his posts and menting them the truth, only if they are mutual friends. Frame as you don't want to air your stuff like he did, but you do want that person to hear your POV. Derek is a nut job. He tried to manipulate and control you, he tried to sabotage your studies, he ghosted you, and now he's on a smear campaign. At this point, he's a stalker. Your friend who said it's your fault for assuming things is not a friend. You had been ghosted for 3 months before you started seeing anyone else, and 5 months before Derek noticed and decided to start harassing you. Tell Derek directly that he broke up with you when he ghosted you 5 months ago and you have no interest in getting back together. Tell him, in so many words, in writing, to leave you alone. Don't argue with him, just tell him. If he continues to harass you, tell him again, 2 more times, and then go to the police with your written evidence of telling him to leave you alone. They might not do anything, but it will start a paper trail. Go to the school's women's resource center and talk to them about what you can do to protect yourself from him. Just to be super clear here, you did nothing wrong. You are not a cheater. You have an unstable, controlling ex-boyfriend who is now stalking and harassing you. Did he go on a 5-month bender and just forgot you existed until he sobered up and saw a picture of you with your new boyfriend? Was he kidnapped or imprisoned and just managed to escape? Did he have amnesia and just got his memory back? He is batshit to think you would just wait around until he decided to grace you with his presence or communication. You didn't cheat, but you dodged a bullet. Story 2. Me and spouse, can our marriage recover from a single tragic incident? Me and my spouse, after 12 years of marriage and weathering psychological damage from home renovations after 2 tornadoes, several spine surgeries, hers, ADHD/OCD diagnosis, hers, and my diagnosed chronic anxiety, we got into a fight and I verbally attacked her below the belt. The core issue is not relevant IMHO, and she threatened to hit me with an iron skillet. She threw household things at me as well. The police were called because I was not only afraid I might get hit, but because if I retaliated/defended myself, I might hurt her irreparably. I tried to undo and tell them not to come, but they came anyway because spousal abuse is what it is. Involving police was a huge mistake. She spent a night in jail and says the police and guards abused her to the point where she now has permanent injuries. She tried to explain to them her extensive spine issues, yet they pushed her around. She fell to her knees at one point, and additionally, damaged her wrists. She has soft tissue damage and pics of extensive bruising. She believes these injuries, on top of her existing surgeries, will forever prevent her from having a normal physical life without pain. She believes I was the cause of this event and says she must seek justice. She says she blames me for calling the police. I would never have actually hurt you, and there is reason to believe she will never actually forgive me. We are trapped together because of financial reasons, although we do still love each other. She is on long-term disability and needs to file paperwork to officially retire. I am the breadwinner. If I leave, she has nothing. I am seeing a therapist to deal with boundaries, anger, and vulnerability issues. She has been seeing a therapist as well. My question is, can a relationship survive this level of blame? Will I forever be responsible for her injuries at the hands of the police? She plans to move forward on a lawsuit against the police for brutality and is actively trying to get legal help to get any video of her arrest and time in the jail. I think suing the police is a fool's errand and will only lead to more stress and anxiety. Also, she is completely obsessed with getting justice for every wrong she perceives. Comment. She hit you and you're at fault for causing the police. She's a terrible person and you need to get out. She lacks any personal responsibility for her actions. You definitely should not be around each other, but I find it telling you don't admit how far below the belt you hit. You fought dirty, she got violent, you both were in the wrong. Do better by each other, get some space. You are living with a person who made you fear for your life, feeds you phobias and anxiety, and guilt trip you for trying to protect yourself. Do you really need to be with her? Does she really loves you, or she loves money you bring and her clutter? The odds are not in your favor. Many people with ADHD show a high sensitivity to justice. So she will have an intense drive to restore what she perceives as justice, to the point that she's willing to even hurt herself in the long run. So it doesn't bode well for your relationship now. No offense, but is your anxiety caused by being in this marriage? Is she always the victim? I ask because I know people like that can be mentally exhausting. Maybe I'm reading too much into your post, but I wonder if there was ever a point your relationship was healthy. I'm glad you are both in therapy, and I would stick with that a bit longer before making a decision. I am sorry you are in this situation. If you are genuinely unhappy, and you discuss with your therapist and find the marriage is part of the problem, do not feel guilty about leaving. Otherwise you will be sacrificing your whole life to her. I'm not a fan of divorce, but life is short and it sounds like she has issues she needs to fix on her own. I would gauge the decision on the amount of progress she is making with her own therapist. She used your hurtful words as an excuse for physical violence and is now blaming you for the consequences of her actions. The police were wrong, but you did not cause them to injure her. Your marriage is irreparably damaged, but it was damaged long before you called the police. What does your therapist say about this situation? Story 3. Broke things off with fiancé. Earlier this week, I got in an accident on a job site where I was tipped into a ditch. While it was small, and initially felt okay. After calling my fiancé for comfort on the phone, when I got home I felt sad and emotional. I was waiting for my fiancé to comfort me, and when he got home I asked for a hug, but he said no, he's busy working. Finally, after hours of laying around, he comes to bed only to sleep. I tried talking about a couple of different things, not the incident, and then asked to cuddle. He said, "Why don't you cuddle me?" And I didn't want to. I wanted to be held by him. I walked out and left to the living room, and he came out and asked why I left the room and started giggling. I said, "I wanted to cuddle and you were just going to sleep." He then proceeded to play video games in the living room. I said, "Do you want to know why I am upset?" He said no, and started laughing again. I burst into tears and went back to the room. I came back out after I felt a little better and said, "You hurt me, and aren't there when I need you." He said, "You're being a baby and dramatic. I already talked to you about what happened today and everything is fine. It's not a big deal. Nobody wants to see that shit." I said, "I can't help but have emotions and cry, that's who I am." He said, "Go to the room and cry then, I don't want to see this." So I went to the room, locked the door and cried. I had a busy day the day after, and we didn't talk all day. When I came home around 10 p.m. from class, I tried speaking to him again and he said tomorrow morning. I said, "No, I need to talk to you now. We have a trip planned to see my brother and a whole group of friends will be there, etc., and I wanted to make sure he was still going." He said he made his mind up the night of our fight that he's not going. Also said he tried to come back to the room in the middle of the night and was upset I locked the door. He said, "You say I don't care for you, but you're so selfish. We have bigger fish to fry and I am dealing with bigger stuff than to hear you cry all day. I comforted you in the morning and I was trying to do so, but you left the room when we were cuddling." I said, "That's not my recount of things, you didn't, that why I walked out, and when I came back to talk to you, you said I am a crybaby, go cry in the room. So that's what I did and locked the door because I felt sad and didn't want him to see me cry, but then he's mad I locked the door, like WTF. I said, "You're being disrespectful," and he said, "That's the point, you don't appreciate what I do for you. So I am not going." I said, "Fine, I am done. If we can't have a conversation and communicate things without name calling, and making me feel like shit, I can't do this anymore. It's not a game and you made a promise to go. If you're not going, I'm done." He said I am petty for breaking up with him over him not going, and it shows my true colors. He said I am using that as a plea to get him to come with me. At this point I have nothing to say. To me it's much bigger than that. It's the fact that he treated me that way when I wanted/needed to support. Now I am wondering if I am being dramatic or unreasonable from breaking up. I feel like kind of an asshole, and giving up too quick, but at the same time I feel like it had to be done. He disregarded my emotions. I would rather have to be now than with something worse in the future. I am just scared and embarrassed now that I did this, because what now, we were engaged. I will be gone from this evening to Sunday, then have to go to Austin for work on Tuesday. We planned a trip to Disney for next weekend, but maybe I'll cancel or go myself. I don't know. I don't want to tell my friends or family about this yet. Is what happened normal behavior? Comment. There's no real advice to give here. How he addressed you is not how you address your significant other, or any human being. It's natural to console people who are sad, even strangers. To ask somebody to go to another room cause you don't want to see crying is subhuman. On another note, I don't believe this happened out of the blue. These posts always say how the person was great in general, but then this happened. If that was his reaction to you crying, there had to have been signs earlier. He's a huge and does not deserve you. He does not give a shit about you or your feelings. You did the right thing to rid yourself of this toxicity in your life. Lean on your friends and family at this time. Very soon you will be happy again, in part due to getting rid of this trash that's been in your life. Talk to your family and friends. You are going to need them for support. Your fiancé is there is no point to console you in the morning after you've worked through your feelings on your own. This doesn't bode well for the future. He'll always abandon you and your feelings and then gaslight you into believing you're somehow at fault. Don't marry him unless he can 100% prove to you that he will be there and not try to continue to manipulate how you should be feeling. From him, no. From you, completely logical and emotionally in line with his behavior. He's manipulating you and you're letting it get to you. You are assuming he's reasonable and that if he's upset with you then he must be right because he's reasonable. He's not, and he's rude and you dodged a tank round. Good lord, even when after you told him you were done he still tried guilt tripping you. He said I am petty for breaking up with him over him not going, and it shows my true colors. The irony is off the charts, he's literally the one showing you his true colors. This dude sounds immature and egotistical. It is not normal behavior for someone that you are supposed to be dedicating till death do us part. You actually are doing the right things for you. What an ass he is.